You're probably watching this video because you'd like a little more organization in your life. Wouldn't we all? So let's figure out, is the Milwaukee PACKOUT worth the extra money compared to the Dewalt TSTAK? A system that's about half the price of Milwaukee. Starting with, so I've had this Dewalt TSTAK for about 5 years now. I've used it a ton, and I've got to say that the way that this thing connects and disconnects has to be one of the least inspired engineering feats of modern times. Just this rinky-dink plastic little clip that flips up, clips down. So to disconnect the system, you have a clip on either side and you have to push both of them out. Sometimes, depending on how the case is situated, it can be kind of difficult to unclip them. So you unclip those, and then you'd kind of want to just flip these levers back so that they don't get snagged and ripped off. They will rip off if something catches on there. You can order new ones from Dewalt. To stack something on there, you then have to flip the little levers out. I mean, sometimes what you'll do is you'll put the case back on there. You'll be like, oh crap, gotta flip the levers out. So you flip the levers out, then you put the case on. Sometimes the case hits the lever and pushes it back down. And then you have to lift the case up, flip it back over, make sure the thing is lined up. Then you have to push the lever in to clip it in. And then, I mean, sometimes it goes decently, but sometimes you gotta pop it into place. Sometimes when you go to pick up the stack, but you didn't quite get this one on, you kind of sit like that. You pick up the stack and the thing just falls apart because you haven't quite clipped it on. And then where this really sucks, we'll use the PACKOUT here. Say you have these tools in your truck or your van and they're stacked side by side like this, like you would in a van or even in your shop, even in the garage. Like if this is stacked into your van, you can't reach in there and disconnect it. So you got to pull the whole thing out, disconnect it that way, slide it back in. The little clip starts hitting on things. Pull this out. I know a guy that has the whole van setup with all these T-stacks, and I've seen him getting things in and out of his van, and yeah, it's a struggle. So yeah, Dewalt TSTAK, the connectivity and the disconnectivity of the system, extremely primitive. I mean, I don't know what the other options were at the design meeting, duct tape, elastic bands, but this is what they came up with. Now let's have a look at the connectivity of the PACKOUT. Now I've heard a lot about these PACKOUTs, I've seen them around, but I never actually used them until about 3 weeks ago when they were on sale at the tool store. So I walked up to the display and I'm checking them out, looking at them. I'm like, how do these things connect? So I picked one up at the display, picked it up, wondering how they connect. Okay, interesting, slides back. Click. Ooh. As soon as I heard the click, it was instantaneous love. The Milwaukee PACKOUT connectivity system is a marvel of engineering. The system is cleats here, and then they slide into a receptive cleat on the other unit, and then the little spring-loaded lever pushes in, depresses, and locks into place. And when you set the case down on here, it actually just kind of wants to get into the position that it's going to need to lock into place. So you just set it down, click, boom, it's in place. So yeah, if you have these stacked in your van, your truck, in your garage, and you want to grab, say you want to grab this stack off of here, just push the button, take the whole stack off, put it back on. One of the really cool things that I've seen with this connectivity system is there's all kinds of modifications, but as well, Milwaukee sells a connective plate that you could actually mount to a wall, or you could put that into your work van. So if you had a work van, you could have a whole setup along one side with the plates. You could mount them on the wall, or you could mount them on the floor, and then click, click, click. All your boxes are secure. They're not going to move around when you're driving. The connectivity system on the Milwaukee PACKOUT is super exciting and inspiring, interesting. There's all kinds of different things you could do. With the Dewalt TSTAK, not so much. It's just a floppy little plastic lever. Organizer bin cases are important. That's what first got me into the Dewalt TSTAK. I picked these cases up walking through Blackwood Home Hardware, and there was a sale, $29.99 Canadian per bin. All the TSTAK cases have these little buckles on the front. Again, not a real engineering feat. They're just your typical metal buckles. They're not the worst thing about the cases by any stretch. Now this is the absolute worst thing about the entire Dewalt TSTAK system. This is it right here. You open up the lid, and the lid falls down. You open up the lid falls down. The only way to open up these lids is to gently hold it like that, and then it won't fall down unless the case gets bumped. So yeah, the organizer bins are quite nice. They've got all these different, you got 2 different size bins. They come in and out quite nicely. Underneath the bins, there is a little storage container that you can put things, which I originally thought would be pretty cool and a handy place to put things. But when you put things in here, they get all rustled around and then the bins won't sit properly. And the bins are fine. One thing that I don't like about the bins is they kind of, sometimes they won't quite sit properly. Like a bin will sit like that. You'll go to close the case and the case isn't closing. Another thing that I've never really liked about this bin is it has these little compartments on the side where you can store bits and drill bits, screws, whatever you want to put in there. But let's say you do put something in there. Got some drill bits, some countersinks, you got them in there. You lock the case down, and let's just say that this goes in the back of your truck. And you go through the pumps, and the bits just go everywhere. So I've been using these Dewalt cases for the last 5 years, always kind of looking for something that would be better, but never really finding it. The Sustainer organizer bins are not any better than this. And then I came across the Milwaukee PACKOUT organizer bins. Yeah, so Milwaukee PACKOUT, the first thing right off the bat, the buckles are a lot nicer, much better built quality. You open up the lid, and guess what? It doesn't fall on your hand every single time. It tilts back. And the cool thing is, let's say you want to access the bin, because sometimes you could be working on one side of a cabinet. You'd need to come over to the other side. And if the lid's in your way, you know, you have to reach around. If you can come down all the way, you just grab a bin. And then another super cool feature with these bins, you take a bin out, and all the bins have these little slots here. So what you can do with that, say you're working framing stage or in your garage, whatever you want, put a couple screws, any type of screws really, and then you can hang these bins up. You also have a weather seal. So if this stuff gets like, if you got it in the back of your truck, this Milwaukee PACKOUT system, I mean, I haven't tested the weather ability of it, but it has a nice rubber seal all the way along. So I imagine, now I'm just imagining this, that you could put this in the back of your truck and it's raining and you won't get a bunch of water inside. And yeah, so another key thing to consider too is there's different sizes in the Milwaukee. With the Dewalt, you're limited to the 1 organizer case. With the Milwaukee, there is 4 different types of bins. So you have kind of the half bins, like a full depth half bin. Then you have these low profile bins in the half size, and you can also get a low profile bin in the full size. So with this full size Milwaukee bin, you have 8 of the small cases, and the Dewalt comes with 6, and then you have 2 of the big bins. Now I'm not going to look at all the cases because there's various different sizes in both the lines. But we will take a look at the small cases, because I have both of them. And this will give us a sense of the ethos of the system with each of these cases. So the one nice thing that I do like about the Dewalt TSTAK is all the cases have a top handle. So what that means is you can put any case on the top of any stack and you can carry that stack with the top handle. The Milwaukee PACKOUT does not have a top handle on most of the cases. There is some toolbox type cases that do have an oversized, nicer handle. So that's definitely a bonus for the TSTAK is this top handle. It's right in the middle. It's very nicely balanced. Great engineering. It's rubberized here. It feels nice in your hand. And that's about where the advantage stops. So again, you open up the case. Same with the organizer bins. You open up the lid. It's almost, you can see here, it doesn't even want to go to a 90 degree, so it's just begging to fall back down. Like, how do you make a case like that? Yeah, the case is pretty plain Jane. You can fit quite a few things in here. Hypothetically here, I've got my Makita subcompact set in there with some bits. You could probably fit a few more batteries in there. It's a plain Jane case, not a lot of bells and whistles. And just an overall view of the footprint size in here, just to give you an idea. The PACKOUT is, on average, about 3 inches wider that way and about 5 inches longer. A couple things to point out just on the outside of the case. These little metal bar, or I guess they're aluminum bars here, just kind of make the case more rugged. And in the mod world, there's all kinds of different things you can get that clip on here. Cup holders, support systems. And I'll link to the video that Jake of all trades did on these Milwaukee PACKOUTs. He's got all kinds of cool things that can attach onto here and onto the top. Even like a practical sense, if you had a stack of these, you could easily, if you had this in the back of your truck or a van, just hook a bungee cord on there and strap up the stack so it doesn't want to fall over in the middle of a trip. And then getting inside the case, again, the lid does not want to flop back on your hand. So in this bin here, I've just got, I haven't really gotten too organized in these yet, so I'm pretty much just putting stuff in there. And then I did get some of this Kaizen foam. One of the cool things about PACKOUT is Milwaukee will sell you Kaizen foam, which is just like a foam that you can do little cutouts in that is already pre-shaped to the size of the PACKOUT. I kind of like the Kaizen foam. I've got a little setup here for all of my hole saws, which were previously just rattling around and scratching up all kinds of other things that they were stored with. So inside the case, it comes with a top little organizer tray, which is nice. And then underneath here, which they just pull out easily, is another organization bin with these little removable dividers. On the other side, you got this nice little case with a snapping lid. Is it the nicest case in the world? No, but it's, tell you what, you can open it up and it doesn't want to close on your fingers. And then it has another one of these on the other side. And the thing I like about this is they fit in super easily. It's not like you have to get the thing sitting just so. You just kind of toss it in there, give it a little bump, and it's back in place. And finally, let's talk about the drawers in each of the systems. Now, the Dewalt TSTAK drawers come in two different sizes. There is the one case that has two shallow drawers, and one case that has the big deep drawer. And I've got to say that the TSTAK drawers are super nice. They're definitely the nicest drawers that I've used in one of these types of systems. They slide in and out, super nice. There is one small problem. When you do stack a lot of weight on top of the drawers, because of the design, it kind of flexes down and the bottom drawer is going to want to rub. It'll still open. It just doesn't glide in and out like it used to. The ones above it still work perfectly fine. With all these systems, you can open them up kind of mid-level and open it up, but it's not as easy. The more drawers you can have, in my opinion, the nicer the system will be. To be honest, I don't use the Dewalt TSTAK anymore on site. So yeah, I just have these in the garage. Super nice to store things. I keep all the family batteries in here, trying to hide them away from my family so they don't use them like candy. Yeah, whenever they need a battery, I'm like, okay, I'll grab some batteries. They're like, oh, where are the batteries? I'm like, I'll get them, don't worry. And then I sneak off into the garage and get the batteries. It's a good thing they don't watch the YouTube videos, so they'll never know. So let's have a look at the Milwaukee PACKOUT drawers. Yeah, Milwaukee PACKOUT doesn't have any drawers as of yet. They've invented the drawers, they have the drawers, but they're not going to be selling them till 2021. So is the Milwaukee PACKOUT worth the extra money? It depends on what type of a person you are. If you just think that a bin is a bin, then save yourself the money and go for the TSTAK. It's not a bad system, but if you're kind of a guy that appreciates, or girl that appreciates engineering, usability, functionality, the ability to just do all kinds of crazy modifications and kind of take the system into different places that you never imagined, then you're damn right that the Milwaukee PACKOUT's worth the extra money. And if you enjoyed this video, check out some of my other reviews up here, and we'll see you over there. Thanks for watching.